This is the Office Manager Diaries, a podcast all about the highs and the lows of professionals in office management around the world. We'll delve into their career journeys and diaries where they'll share their stories, tips for success, and only things office managers understand. Enjoy, and please remember to give us a follow. Hello everybody, it's Hannah Gray, the host of the Office Manager Diaries here, and we are back for season 2 in 2024. Really excited to have you here with us, and I am delighted as always to welcome our next guest, Cohen, who is the owner of the Office Manager Academy and Pro Office Manager, all the way from Paris, across the pond as we say. Chloe, lovely to have you here. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hi, Anna. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here as well.
It's great to have you here, and another international office manager, which we're keen to keep expanding on. So thank you for giving up your time to be with us. Chloe, can you start, please, by telling us a little bit about yourself and your career to date?
Yes, of course. I've started as an assistant a long time ago in the late 80s. I've started as an assistant in the industry and also in the services. And then about 15 years ago, I wanted to go on as a freelance. And I introduced myself actually as an office manager. I can't remember. I fell into it actually, as I heard on your podcast, the expression, I fell into it, but I can't remember, unfortunately, how I fell into it, how the word office manager came to me. I'm sometimes sad about it because I don't remember, but I really introduced myself in the company because at the time, the office manager function was absolutely unknown in France. When you did tell them I'm an office manager, okay, what is an office manager? I was a pioneer actually, and so I started as a freelance office manager, and in the same time I wanted to promote the function. On the one hand, speaking to the managers and introduce other office managers to them, or also as a trainer. I created training programs and mentorship. So that were my two businesses since 15 years now.
Wow. And it's interesting that you say about being this pioneer, and I suppose trying to get people to understand what an office manager does. So what kind of time frame was that? How long ago was it that office manager was, as you say, unheard of in France? And how did you go about pioneering that role and that profession, but also educating people on what that role does?
Actually, I like challenges, so I'm okay to start with new challenges, but it was known that office manager was an English name, an English function brought to France, and it was starting to be known as working in companies, not as a freelance. I was one of the first person doing it in freelance. And it took some time. Still today, it's still not well known. That's the key reason why I'm fighting on this, and why I want to go on, because I hear a lot of complaints everywhere, and so I want to hear people hear my voice actually.
Yeah, and get the role on the map, right? And it seems to have happened much more, like I'm the same as you. Years and years ago, office manager just wasn't really a thing. It was, like I think I've said in a previous podcast or somewhere, that I used to be branch secretary. So that was my name, as in
Yes.
a branch of an estate agent, but I was doing office management. And it is that educational piece and trying to get people to understand just what the role is, but also the value that the role brings. Yeah.
And also that there's no function that is under the other. I mean, there's no scale. I mean, being an assistant is as powerful as being an office manager, and it needs qualities for one and qualities for the other. So it depends really on what you want to do, on where you feel happy, where you feel powerful, and you're good in your well-being area. I don't know how you say it in English. In French, we say
fulfilled.
Yeah, exactly. No,
yeah,
I mean,
fulfilled.
You have comfort zone and the other uncomfort zone. I don't know how you say it in English.
But,
why do you have to go to places where you don't feel at ease? I mean, missions and tasks where you don't feel at ease. I
Pushing
don't want
yourself
to be,
outside of it.
I mean, being an assistant for me, being a PA is very, I admire people now being a PA, and because for me, I don't have patience, but I have patience on other fields in office management, but okay, it's completely different. So there's place for everybody. So
Yeah, exactly. You've got to find what's right for you, haven't you? And
yeah,
how
exactly.
you get satisfaction at the end of the day and so on and so
Yeah,
forth.
it's
They're
important.
different.
It's really
Yeah,
important. I mean, we are spending a lot of time at work, so
yeah, exactly. And what sort of things now, 15 years into having your freelance career, fall into a typical day for you? What sort of tasks are you doing? And how do you structure that? How do you structure your days?
well, I'm my favorite my favorites. I'm used to say that there's no typical day for an office manager, but but still, um, I would say my typical week. It's more convenient because the day you never know starting one day how it's going to go. But typical week is I'm going to work for customers and as an office manager, not all the time, but I'm going to meet the teams and to spend the day in the office. But also I'm doing it part of the job remote, um, and so that is a day where I help as an office manager, as a financial manager, and then. Also, I'm doing my training. I'm spending time on preparing, selling, and organizing my trainings, and also performing the training. So that's roughly half of my time. And I still have two customers as an office manager. Yeah, I'm working for small companies because I like the role of the office manager in small companies where you don't have an HR manager, where you don't have a finance manager, where you don't have anything. You only have the boss, sometimes working with an associate. So there are sometimes two, and then you have the office managers just aside from them, on top of all the team. So I'm doing I'm having a role in the HR, onboarding, outboarding, answering all the questions of people, salary issues, the payment, all around the HR. Also, of course, on all what is about purchase, suppliers, management. In small companies, we've got really a prescription role, means we are preparing everything and we are nearly the one who choose the supplier. And then I'm also, let me think, also invoicing, customer invoicing, very important. Getting the money in also. Chasing customers, I'm very good at that. So that's one of my specialties. I'm chasing customers. And also I'm working on different projects like implementing new processes, trying to get things going fluently, easily. So it can be a project like implementing a new database, implementing new tools. There's a lot of things actually. When you're an office manager in a small company, it's really a wide range of intervention.
Yeah, it takes you to so many different, like the smaller the company is, you're right, the more remit and responsibility you have, and the more visible you are
Exactly.
as well. The more accountable you have to be. You find the same.
Exactly. Really accountable is very important, because we take a lot of decisions, actually. We got some responsibilities. We also follow up the budget for the company. We follow all what's about finance, following budget, following expenses, etc., etc. So yeah, we got quite a role. And alert saying, oh, the budget is over. We need to talk. We need to sit. What are we doing? So, and that's why we need to be really. Sometimes we need to put a little bit of pressure.
Yeah. And so with all of that for two different companies, plus your
Yes.
own work, like the training you've talked about already as well, how do you structure that? How do you start the week off and think, right, this is what I need to do? How do you prioritize and plan?
I have blocked time periods for my customers. So, for instance, actually now I can work every Tuesday for one of my customer. I can work every Wednesday for one of my customer. I'm keeping the Friday for emergencies. I don't block anything, but I'm keeping it to get a bit of to to play about. On Monday, I'm usually doing my administration, my own administration. I'm keeping on with all my training administration. It's in France, it takes a lot of time. I don't know in the UK, but in France, it's horrible. And then I'm also, otherwise, sometimes I move my schedule because there's some emergency, some work to do for my customers. So I'm quite used to move all the time. And I've got a very good clock. I've got a very good utility tool to count my time. So in the middle of the day, I can start the counter and I start counting time. And then when I'm finished, I click stop and then that's it. So I can really, really know how much time I spend on any task.
Yeah, which is really important because then you can manage your work again based on how long it's taken you and understand expectations.
Exactly.
You know, take the pressure off, let people know how long things are taking you so that they'll know when they're going to get things. Really good idea. What is that tool?
Clockify, the name of the tool.
Clockify.
It's free and it's very easy to use. You can set up projects, set up different customers, set up anything you want. And at the end of the month, you get a dashboard. You get a dashboard. You can see what you're doing. At the end of the month, you can export things for your customers, for your project management. It's really nice. I was really bad on telling how much time I was spending too much time and not invoicing it to my customers. So I say, okay, I need now to really get this in order.
Because every second of an email counts, doesn't it? I mean, I work on the same basis as some of mine, and it does count. I use one called Freely, just in case anyone wants. I don't think it's quite as sophisticated as Clockify, but it does what I need it to do, and that's fine. But I don't think you can get the reports that you've mentioned, Chloe, there. But yeah, it's you've got to be aware, even if you're not working for clients, you're just working as an office manager.
Exactly.
Doing sort of what I call time and motion studies and watches, so you understand how long things take you, is really important. It's a good thing to have in your arsenal, so you can then manage expectations and manage your own and take that pressure off, thinking, oh, I'm going to get all of this done today, and actually it's just unrealistic because it's not going to happen.
A quick message from our sponsors, the very first sponsors for the Office Manager Diaries podcast. As an office manager, you're likely really familiar with the challenges of organising employee birthday gifts. Individually arranging gifts for every birthday on top of everything else on your to-do list can be extremely time-consuming, not to mention the lingering fear of overlooking someone's special day. If this sounds familiar, then you'll be excited to know that there is a solution out there for you. Introducing automated gifting from CakeDrop. CakeDrop's automated employee gifting solution lets you schedule and automate your employee birthday gifting in one easy-to-use platform that now integrates with over 50 HR systems, including HiBob, Charlie HR, and Bamboo. Simply set up a CakeDrop birthday plan in a few clicks and your employees will receive a delicious branded treat. Trust me, they are so delicious. I've had many CakeDrop cakes, fortunately, in my time in this company, and they are incredible. Get that treat delivered directly to their doorstep on their birthday, wherever they are in the UK. And if you have new starters, leavers, or employees that move home, you don't have to do a thing. Your birthday plan with CakeDrop will be updated automatically when you update your HR system. So if you want to save precious time and ensure that no birthday goes uncelebrated, check out automated employee gifting with CakeDrop. Get started with gifts from just £16 per employee. Visit their website www.cakedrop.london and use code THEOMD when booking. Thanks to CakeDrop for sponsoring this episode.
So you share loads of useful tips and insights, particularly on LinkedIn where we're connected, into the profession, and you're clearly very passionate about the office management role. I've noticed this acronym come up quite a lot in your posts, which is RAF. What is this? Can you expand on that for us, please?
Yes, of course. RAF is in French is Responsable Administratif et Financier, which is in English Financial and Administration Manager, I would say. And so we used to say that the office manager is a function in between I would say super assistant and finance and administration manager. If you are if you are administration manager, then you got a bit more responsibilities on finance, on management of a lot of things, especially because the F for finance is introduced. So you got a role in monitoring financial figures in the company. You're not a financial manager. It's one level up, but you still are having a role. You're not in France. You also got financial director, which is not my role. My role is only responsible, which is a little bit different. I don't know if you get the difference, but I don't do financial analysis like top analysis, but I'm managed to produce dashboards where data is really accurate and useful. I know how a company is working, and I know the key KPI, so I can adapt the dashboards to the KPI of the company I'm working in. And that's how role as a
No, I was just going to say it's very true, because even if you're not looking after like what we would say all the taxes and the corporation, company returns and all the things that need to go on there from an accountancy perspective, you're right, because office managers are often buying so much for the company in terms of supplies and service providers, from stationery and pens to is it le biro? Is that how you say pen in French? Le biro? Maybe I've got that wrong.
Les stylo, pen, stylo.
Oh, stylo, yeah. It was one of the,
yes.
le stylo. And there's so much that we do in that regard, and opportunities where we're in control of what goes out, but also what can be saved. So I think you're right. There is a big element of finance in our roles that's not always recognized. So I agree.
Yeah, I've started a mission 1 month ago in a company where I was actually hired as financial and administration manager, and one of my role is really cost control, is really telling them on that area you're spending too much money, and they didn't have any dashboard saying profit and loss. You're working on profit and loss, and it didn't have this figure in front of them. So my role is to put these figures in front of their eyes and say, look, this month you are losing money, this month you are earning money. What can we do? On what budget we can?
Really key. And I saw one point in your post in particular that you touched on a little while ago about the assistant role. So this one talked about EAs, PAs, executive and personal assistant roles, or assistant roles in general, versus the office manager role. Tell us a bit more on that post, please, and where you kind of were coming from with it.
I'm not sure if I remember the post, but what I can tell you is, it's actually quite easy. In assistant, you got the word assist, and in office manager, you got the word manage. So the office manager has a manager role, while an assistant has got an assisting role. The problem in France being the office manager function is not well known still. Some assistants are given a lot of new functions, getting responsibilities, and they should go to the management and say, now I'm not anymore an assistant, I'm an office manager, please change my function, my title, but they don't do it. And also on the other way, the office managers, sometimes they are asked to do part of the time the role of an assistant. So in very small companies, they are also doing like schedule meetings, looking at the agenda of the manager, preparing detailed travels, etc. And so the roles are mixed, actually. We like to say sometimes it's better to have 2 freelances or 2 person. If you can hire 1 full person for 1 full time, you can maybe combine 2 freelances, and so the roles are really better distributed. You know what I mean? The office manager has got a few tasks, and the assistant has got other tasks, and everybody's happy, but they don't work full time in the company.
Yeah, and they do over here as well. They get very blended and mixed up, and there are so many assistants out there doing what typically, to me, certainly fall under office management duties, and office managers, like you say, that are doing the assistant duties, but it's not necessarily recognised in their title. And that might not be a big thing for some people. They might be happy with how it is, but some people will have EA office manager or PA and office manager. But yeah, it's not always defined, is it? And I think people forget that they are two very different jobs.
It's yeah, and I hear a lot of complaints. I that's why my last post, actually, I wrote it because I was a bit, sometimes I'm a bit concerned or tired about everybody complaining. But I say, be influential, be influential about your job, and go and talk to your management. And if you don't feel like talking to your management, please call me or call somebody to help you, to do mentorship, to help you in you know, taking conscience of your new position, of what you've been doing, what the evolution of your role in the company. And sometimes I've trained someone who said, but as an office manager or as an assistant, I didn't realize that I could take some time for me to figure out what I've been doing, what I'm up to, because I thought it was not part of my job. But yes, it's part of your job to take a bit of time to think about it.
Yeah, because we're such doers, especially I think coming, well, from both roles. So assistant, I've been an assistant like you as well, and you're just a doer, aren't you? Which is why most people who are doers are successful in those roles. But you, you're quite right. There is that point, especially when it comes around to like appraisals or annual reviews, to stop and look back and make sure you're documenting, you know, like you say, maybe use Clockify or something, documenting the things you do that aren't quite the regular things that you're doing or on your job spec, and make sure it's all captured, and then consider whether this fits in with the title, if you're, you know, if the title's important to you, and whether this is what you want to be doing and you're getting the recognition for. I think it's really important. So how do you support the profession now as a freelancer in what you're doing?
Well, I support the profession because I'm doing a lot of mentorship. I'm speaking a lot of LinkedIn, as you can say. It's complicated because on the training side, on the official side in France, government side, for the trainings on office manager programs, they don't know where to put it, and they're going to put it under the assistant programs. So it's creating a mix. And I have refused to cooperate to some big programs because I didn't want to go on like that, because I've been spending years on saying office management is not the same as assistant, and now they want me to work on an assistant program. So that's how I try to contribute. Also, I'm doing a lot of mentorship. I think I like mentorship because you speak for 2 hours to somebody, and it creates a lot of good results. You don't need 15 hours, you don't need 40 hours, you need just, okay, we take 2 hours, we put everything on the table, we put the emotions a bit aside, and we're going on practical issues. And what is your job description? What is the situation? How can we find something interesting on this situation?
What is it about the role that makes you, like, I know for me what it is in terms of the passion, because people often say, oh, you're so passionate, and you and I wouldn't be doing what we're doing if we weren't, right? You live and breathe through your job, and like you said, you know, you're at work a lot of the time, so it's important to ensure that you get something from it and you enjoy it. So what is it about the office management profession that for you gives you that passion, or lights that fire in your belly, and you just are so adamant at doing the things that you do and advocating for it, and refusing, like you say, to put it under the assistant banner? And by the way, I 100% back you there. I would do the same. What do you think it is that's just lit that fire in you with it?
I like the responsibilities that go with the function. I like that also the project manager role. I'm a real project manager, actually. That's, as you say, lighting the fire when I've got a new project to handle. I like the autonomy of the job. And also, I don't like, when you're an assistant, you are really close to one person and for one person or two person, whereas for an office manager, you are working for all the team. You are talking with all the team. Sometimes some people don't like it because they are quite lost because they can't say no. But when you are getting to a good rhythm, then it's very nice. I like all this cooperation, various interactions. So when you get to a certain level of confidence, then it's nice because you can say no, you can organize, plan. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, and get much more strategic. So it's that
Mhm.
whole, similar to me, where you're touching so many different people within an organization, you're exposed, but you can
Yes.
gain so much value and learning and development if you are strategic, and if you've got your eyes and the
Mhm.
trajectory set for achieving results in that role. So
Yeah, but you really got to get at ease with the role of manager. The word manager in Office Manager is very important. And if you're not, you don't like it, then don't do it. Be happy as an assistant, and it's nice. The objective is being happy in your job. There's nothing else.
So what are your success stories now, Chloe, from your time as an office manager, please?
My success stories is I like the part of financial supervision of the company. Really, I like to save money. So I'm happy when a manager says, "Oh, if you were not there, I would be dead," or something like that. Sometimes I hear this because sometimes I've become they are counting too much on me. So I had to find the right level in between. But still I like this success stories is saving money, um, making people happy, making the manager saying how I couldn't do without you, I need you. It's funny, but I like it, to help people. We are really helping. That's but sometimes we are helping too much and we can't say no. So that's the point.
Yeah, that's the danger, isn't it? And the balance
Yeah.
balance between the two. I mean, in terms of your career, is there any moment that really stands out for you where you think, yeah, that was a really successful piece of work or project or job because of something in particular? Is there anything
Yeah.
really poignant that stands out? Tell us about that.
I've had moments where I was really acting as an intermediate between people. And I was really, sometimes I was facing difficult situations between two person, and I was going into it and try to help. And I was happy because that was creating good effects afterwards. So I said, okay, one of the two people was coming to me and say, "Oh, I'm not happy. The other one has done this, the other one, and the other one also." So I said, let's sit around the table, the three of us, and let's discuss. And I will do the neutral element. And I had very good results on this. Because I've managed also a team in part of my career. I was customer service team manager. So I like managing also people. Every new relation is a challenge for me. And so my success stories was also to manage difficult people, difficult characters. I've been getting quite I'm trying to find the word in English, but quite senior in managing people,
It's
managing managers.
Yes, it's one of the hardest things, and
Yes.
it's like that mediator, isn't it? Which is where you've got two people who don't agree, and you sit them around a table, and you, like you say, you're on the fence as a mediator, just trying to find a resolution. And that happens a lot.
Yeah, and also I'm happy. One of my most recent success stories is I've been entering a company 1 month ago, a month and a half, and the two associates, owners, they told me, "You've understood our business in 1 month. It's like you've been for ages in the company." And so I was very happy because it's a success story. Right until now, it's a success story in 1 month's time, or a month and a half. It's like I've been there forever. So it's a nice compliment. I liked it.
Yeah, as you should. It is these things. I think that's the thing. The role isn't always, and we've talked about it a lot on this podcast last year, in the first season, where you don't always get the validation, the gratitude, the
Mhm.
appreciation that it comes with. I always say to people, you're not going to have people come up to you and say, "Oh, thank you so much, Hannah, for keeping the lights on today in the office and keeping the temperature right." You're going to get people typically come to you when there is something wrong. Um, And even when you fix that, you don't always get people saying thanks and making a point of it. But when you do, especially when you have made headway into a company that's new and they're already seeing the impact and positive results of your work, it's a really solid foundation to keep building on for that company. It's a good motivator, but also it's ratifying because you know that you are good at what you do. So I totally get that. I had a client that I've just started working with a few weeks ago doing their office move. I've been brought in very last minute. And she said to me, she's the finance director, and she said, I think I'd be having kittens if you weren't here right now, Hannah.
Yeah.
Things like that. And you think, this is nice, you know, and again, you just go in and you make an impact and you just get it done. So yeah, it's brilliant when you get those moments.
In season 1, towards the end of the season, I talked about strategic partnership, and I said that I would share a bit more on this.
So how can you do it? Well, the first thing is to think about what you want to achieve here and how much time you can dedicate to this. Why do you want to do it, and when can you do it? How you can do it is by asking, like I said in my previous tip, the CEO, your line manager, what's on their radar, what's on their agenda, and where do they want to go over the next few years in order to drive that business forward, in order to supply its customers with whatever service or product it produces, even if it's a charity, you know, there's still a service to be provided within that. How are they looking at doing that? And then how can you align? So it might be a case of taking the business's objectives and thinking about, okay, well, they've got sustainability in there, or they've got excellent customer service in there, just some very simple ones here as examples. And you might think, right, well, I need to make sure that I'm providing excellent customer service to align to that. So how can I do that? How can I influence that within my role? Is there anything else I can do to make that, not just in terms of the communication that you're having clearly here, but also in terms of the systems and tools and things that you're using to make it smoother for your staff to have that excellent customer service from you. But also then the sustainability point, which I think is a really obvious one for people in our office management roles, to make sure that we are being more sustainable and then aligning to the business's missions in doing that. Can you put your hand up and get involved in or in anything else? Or can you delegate things to your team and ensure that they're aligning to your objectives, and really turn all of that, you know, ready for your appraisals into things that actually have more value and mean more to the business, rather than I'll do this year and I'll do that. It's trying to get a little bit more clever about it, to be strategic and think, how can I properly support this business in everything I have the capacity to do within the remit of my role? The when here is really important, because if you don't have the time to read, you know, a little bit of industry news on what's happening within the specific sector of your business, and understand, you know, if your company sends newsletters or does town halls, really do listen and read some of those things. Maybe it's just 15 minutes a month that you carve out to do that, and then ask questions or talk about it again with your line manager or the seniors. Knock on those doors and say, I want to help be more strategic. How can I do that? It's such an empowering and impressive thing to do, to get yourself at the table, to make sure your objectives actually mean something, have meaning and value each year as well.
So now, Chloe, can you please share something from your Office Manager Diary for the Office Manager Diaries podcast, or as we call it, a you won't believe it but moment?
So that's the difficult part for me, actually, because there's the day-to-day thing, like you try to clean the coffee machine and you break it down, like you know, that's that kind of stuff happened to me recently. Just
tell us
arriving
about
in
that.
the company. Well, I had just arrived in the company for a client 1 week, and so I said, okay, I was asked to clean the coffee machine, which is quite a complicated coffee machine. So I had a quite complicated note, 5 pages to clean the coffee machine, like, you know, this button and then this button and this and this. And okay, I was right at the end, 40 minutes cleaning the machine. Everything was okay. And then suddenly a message like, you cannot use the coffee machine. There's a problem. I say, ooh, I've just arrived in the company and I've broken the coffee machine. But I'm very lucky because they are really not the type of people shouting on you, and not the type of it's in the business of HR, so HR and risks relating to HR. So they are also keen on the well-being of their employees. So I was happy, and they know that I've tried to sort the thing as quickly as possible. And in a couple of days, the coffee machine was repaired. So they appreciated that I really didn't panic, and I'm really solution oriented, and that's also one of my part of my success stories, because people say that you've always got a solution when there's a problem. You don't lose any time. You're trying to work out something.
Did you figure out what made it pop and go bang, the coffee machine, or was it just going to happen anyway?
No, I know exactly what, because I was doing the things too fast, as usual. I'm a doer, so I'm doing things too fast. And I got some little contact thing wet, which and they sent me a thing saying, okay, we send you a tutorial, a video, and you can I had to take a screwdriver and to break something in the machine to clean it. I said, no, I don't touch it anymore. Bring me somebody, because I will not touch it anymore. But this time, this week I had to clean it again on a fast program, and I was much more cool. And I say, okay, I know now I'm not going to do this again. I took time to do every stage, so we learn of everything we learn.
That coffee machine sounds incredibly sensitive.
Yeah.
Incredibly sensitive.
Yeah, and they don't have assistance. So when you've got a big problem, you need to go to the post office with the coffee machine in a box. They send a box, and you send it to I don't know, a part of France which is far away from Paris. So because they try to sell you programs where you buy the coffee, where you buy the maintenance of the machine, but it's too much. I don't want to pay 200 euro per month to maintain a coffee machine. It's completely has no sense. So but we try to cope with what's in the office already. I don't want to change everything straight away, so I'm going on.
Yeah, you're navigating. I love that. I mean, I must confess, I don't drink coffee, so I try and steer away from the machines as it is. But every time, we've had the Nespresso machines and the DeLonghi's and
yes.
all sorts of different machines in my time, and every single time that descale function comes up where you have to put the descalant solution in and give it a good old clean, I'm either like, right, cleaning team, come and learn how to use it. I mean, I knew how to do it, but I would just learn and then immediately pass that knowledge on to somebody else to do it, because it was just one of my tasks that I will avoid like the plague. I didn't ever want to do the coffee machine cleaning cycle, because it was a nightmare. Now you've given me even more reason to never do it again. So
but sometimes when you're starting, you think, am I doing it or am I not doing it? Because sometimes it's more risky to do something. So sometimes you say, okay, no, I won't do it. Now for this new mission, this new client, I'm before I was always okay to do everything, to take a lot of risks, but now I'm thinking about it before, I sleep on it. When I did the emotional intelligence tests, for me, the first conclusion was sleep on it. Don't react directly. Read your emails twice.
Yeah.
And it's a very good advice. I'm much happier since I'm doing this.
Yeah, it is. A good night's sleep changes perspective sometimes, doesn't it? So it's very important. So you've mentioned, obviously, you are over in France, specifically in Paris. So do you think there are any key differences between office manager roles out there in France versus here in the UK or even the rest of the world? And if so, what are they? What are the ones that you've perhaps observed so far?
I must say, I don't really know exactly the role of the office manager abroad. So I don't have a really a good opinion on that, actually. I'm really specialized in France. I know in Belgium because I'm Belgian, so I know a bit how it's going on in Belgium. It's still roughly the same. but still, even in France, in Paris, we speak about office manager, but as you go out of Paris, the word office manager loses its meaning, and they don't know about it, especially except in the big cities where you've got a few office managers, but otherwise it's still not really famous. So no, I'm sorry, I don't really, I would be happy to know about it, but I don't have much to say about it on this.
I think, as you say, the main thing is probably just the lack of recognition of the role and
Yes,
the significance of it, perhaps, because it certainly was like that some years ago, and it's come up, and it's, you know, the role has certainly grown in popularity and again in value and recognition, and the number of businesses now saying, oh, we don't need just an assistant, we need an assistant and an office manager, if that's a combined role or separate roles. And yeah, so I think that's the main thing that's changed, that perhaps France is still just catching up with over there.
yeah, and I don't know if the role is, if in France the role is very different when the company is growing. When you got an HR manager coming in, when you got a financial manager coming in, and the office manager is roughly becoming an assistant to all these different management managers, and that's why also we've created this role, REF. We're talking about financial manager. This person is managing, but not anymore doing. Because the role of office manager was not really clearly understood anymore. So sometimes it's easier to create new function, new titles, than to work out on an existing role, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, I think here it would depend, because I've always said that the size and the sector and the location of the company will drive the responsibilities of that role of
Yes.
the office manager.
Yeah.
So if a
Yeah.
company is growing and they split the HR piece out and they split the finance piece out, I would imagine that there's the growth in terms of the facilities management side and the reception side and the day-to-day suppliers and service provider side would grow. So that's how it would evolve. And then maybe they become the manager of assistants that are hired and so on. That's typically how they evolve with roles that grow over here, but it really varies company to company. So yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? So what is it like working in Paris? Describe a day in the life in Paris for me and working there. I said to you before we started recording, because I go through the questions with the guests before we go live, that I imagine, like you said, it's like Emily in Paris. There's beautiful flowers everywhere and these pretty French streets and all this. And, you know, but what is it like there in terms of the day-to-day working, but also cultures and navigating that role in Paris specifically?
Well, it depends. It depends first on the place where you're working. Paris is big, and also if you work on Champs-Élysées, on Rivoli, or nice places, it's okay, it's nice, especially in Christmas time, because you've got a lot of decoration. But if you work in other places in Paris or around Paris or in La Défense, it's not so nice. A lot of people now in France are happy to have home office for 2 days out of 5 in a week, sometimes 3 days out of 5. It's a big question on the office management side, by the way, because a lot of people say office manager has to be in the office all the time. But on the other side, to do deep work is nice at home because you're not disturbed. But Paris is, we've got the transport problem in Paris. I don't know if it's the same in big companies in England, but Paris. So you got to leave early if you live outside Paris, because even inside Paris, I don't know how it's going to be with the Olympic Games, but I'm sure it's going to be a mess, because already now, if you at peak times, the metro is really full up. So I don't know how they're going to do it. And so you got to do special to leave early, etc. And if your company allows it, it's very nice. Paris is becoming, unfortunately, a bit dirty, a bit, since after the COVID period, I think there's a lot of I will not say mental distress, but still, we feel it. I feel it when I walk around. I feel it. It's been difficult for a lot of people. So if you're going into the metro, if you're going around, you can feel it. So that's why I don't like anymore. I can say, I will tell you, this summer I didn't go to Paris. I worked at home for all the month of July and August, and when I went back to Paris, going out of the metro in the center of Paris, I was like stuck with all the cars going around and all the life around, and I was really, ooh, I know why I'm not coming back to Paris too much, because it's too much activity for me. And also because they've got the new, this Paris, I don't know how you call it in England, but now it's difficult because with all the bicycles around, new policy for the cars, for when you've got a car in Paris. So it's a bit stressful. You got to take care of everything. You have to take care of the bicycles, of the electric cars you don't hear. So I think for me, it's getting a bit stressful to work in Paris, actually, personally.
Makes me think of Holland a little bit, and specifically Amsterdam, and just, I don't know if you've ever been, but trying to navigate around that, walking around the streets, because you've got bikes everywhere, you've got their trams, not so many cars, but there are still cars in a lot of parts of it, and it is quite stressful. You have to be very, very on it when you're crossing roads and moving around Amsterdam. So it's probably a bit like that, is it? And in terms of cultures in office environments, you've talked about this HR client that you've got. What was it like, sorry, back when you were working as an office manager in, full-time permanent, before you set up freelancing? What were cultures like then compared to perhaps what they're like now over there?
Today, I would say comfort is important. Comfort is important for people, so we cannot ask them too much things. Their bit of their comfort zone has gotten lower. Before I was young. I mean, I was young, but I was working a lot. I was not counting my time. I could accept a lot of things. Now I feel that we don't accept much thing as before. In France, we've got a problem because we've got a lot of, it's difficult to hire people. It's difficult to find the good people. It's difficult to keep people in the companies. They are like switchers. They like to switch. They like to try new things. And if they're not happy, they are leaving. So this is an important subject in France nowadays.
Yeah. Employee well-being, same as here. And yeah, I think employees have got much more particular, and employers are struggling to keep up with the demand sometimes, aren't they? So you're finding the same.
And we've got an increase of difficult situations. Also in France, we've got a really, really increase since the COVID period of problems, like back problems, shoulder problems, all these problems of stress problems, related to stress. We call it in French, I don't know, psychological and social risks at work. And there's been a dramatic increase of, and meaning of work is getting really different. There's a problem on the meaning of work, a real question.
It's interesting, isn't it, what COVID did and what technology's done, working from home, because there's the flip side, isn't there? Too much working from home is probably bad on your sociological and physiological state, because you're sitting in dining chairs and not proper equipment and not getting out into the sun. But then getting into, especially if you say it's that stressful getting into Paris, there's other stresses there. It's a really hard state at the moment. So let's finish on this one then. Where do you think the office manager role is heading, and what is in the future for this profession?
I hope that the role is really, really going to be clearer and clearer. In France, we got a lot of voices. I'm not alone. That's really good, because there are a lot of people also writing on this and trying best to promote the role. So I would be happy if we could find a new way of communicating on the position. I'm not really happy of how we are communicating now, because we are we are complaining. I like positive communication. I like saying what's making me happy in my job, what's making me like I want to wake up in the morning, go to work, and that's what I think my trainings actually, what makes you happy in your day, because sometimes it's easy to complain but not easy to say, yeah, I'm happy with this. So I would really like that going on communicating like this, debate assistant or office manager. I hope this is going to get clearer, but it's not easy, I reckon.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think, like I said, the role has come up a lot, but there's still some more work to do. I mean, there's an article that I was invited to. It's one of these LinkedIn things where they say collaborate and add your comments and thoughts on this article, and I get it quite a lot. And I never have done them before, but this one was specifically on office management, and a lot of people were writing in there that when you're a manager, when you're an office manager, you have to learn how to manage people. But they were all talking about people management. And that just showed to me that a lot of the people that answered that article actually still don't know what this meant by office manager, because they were only talking about leadership and managing people. They weren't talking about environment, health and safety, the premises, like you say, the finance, the procurement elements, toilets and all this kind of stuff that we have to deal with in these roles, coffee machines. So I think even just seeing those articles and those responses, people don't know what it is, and it's still got a fair way to go. But yeah, well, I'm very hopeful that
there's a lot of work to do still.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And we're on a mission and a similar trajectory to try and get it out there. So
yes, exactly.
So I really hope that in the future we can bring the office management group and the platform and things that we've got that have seen great success here in the UK and in London especially to Paris. So I'd love to keep in touch, Chloe, and hopefully we can collaborate more in the future and drive the positivities in the profession together. So
yeah.
Thank you so much for being a guest on the Office Manager Diaries for the start of our second season. It's been great to chat to you and get to know you a bit better.
I hope you understood what I was saying.
Yeah.
I've worked for a long time with a UK group, and I was used to speaking English all day long, but it's a long time since I haven't been speaking English like this. So.
Yeah, the pressure. No, it's been perfect. Thank you.
Whoa. Don't leave us just yet, listener. I want to share with you a quick reminder. If you don't know about this, then you absolutely need to have a look into it. And if you do know about them already, it is time to put yourself out there. The Office Management Awards are back for 2024 and we need your help. You can nominate anybody in your company globally for an office management award. And if you are the office manager or responsible for office management within your business, put yourself forward and enter for an award. There are 10 categories to choose from, ranging from Office Manager of the Year to International Office Manager of the Year, Hybrid Office Manager, so for those who are in perhaps an assistant and office management role or an HR and office management role. There's Culture Champion of the Year, Sustainability Champion, Project of the Year. There are loads to choose from and you can enter for up to 2 awards this year. If you're nominating, there's also the option to nominate your favourite service provider and or suppliers. And we really do need your help in saying thank you to the businesses that help you run your business. So now is your time. Go ahead, drop over to our website, www.theofficemanagementgroup.com/the-awards. That's theofficemanagementgroup.com/the-awards. Entries and nominations must be received by Sunday the 10th of March at midnight UK. Good luck.